Welcome to the Wisdom of Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy, Part 2. Special thanks to Dr. Raymond D. Giuseppe, who collected these fantastic quotes. Wendy Dryden said, "Give people the right to be wrong. They will exercise this right whether you give it to them or not." Albert Ellis said, "There are no absolutes." Well, there aren't many. An anonymous individual said, "Fear is when 10 guys with knives are after you. Anxiety is when you are safely at home thinking they might come." Lenny Bruce said, "The truth is what is, and what should be is a fantasy, a terrible fantasy." Sally Kempton said, "It is hard to fight an enemy who has outposts in your head." Ray D. Giuseppe said, "You do not try to solve a problem that you think shouldn't exist." John Kabat-Zinn said, "You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf." Epictetus said, "Man is not worried by real problems as much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." William James said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by changing his attitude." The Rolling Stones said, "You can't always get what you want, but if you try, sometimes you just might find you get what you need." Salvador Dali said, "Have no fear of perfection. You'll never reach it." Carl Rogers said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." Franklin D. Roosevelt said, "There is nothing to fear except fear itself." William James said, "Acceptance of what happened is the first step to overcoming the consequences of any misfortune." Abraham Lincoln said, "Most folks are about as happy as they make up their minds to be." Alfred Adler said, "The only normal people are the ones you don't know very well." John Milton said, "The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven." Johann von Goethe said, "Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do." John Haynes Holmes said, "The universe is not hostile, nor is it friendly. It's simply indifferent." An anonymous individual said, "Peace begins when expectations end." Dianne Feinstein said, "Loss can close you up or open you up." Wendy Dryden said, "If you haven't made any mistakes lately, you're either dead or playing things extraordinarily safe." Shoma Morita said, "The only way to learn to live well is to practice living well every day." Sophocles said, "Heaven never helps the person who will not act." E. M. Forster said, "We must be willing to let go of the life we have planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us." Linda Galindo said, "You and you alone are 100% responsible for your own successes, opportunities, and happiness." An anonymous individual said, "If plan A doesn't work, the alphabet has 25 more letters." Seneca said, "Enjoy present pleasures in such a way as not to injure future ones." Gianni Vattimo said, "There are no facts, only interpretations, including this one." Epictetus said, "You can only be a victim of yourself. It's all how you discipline your mind." Rod Martell said, "Flexibility is the hallmark of good mental health." The Bible in Proverbs 23:7 says, "For as he thinks, so is he." Amy Graver said, "The meaning of fate resides in our response to it." Albert Ellis said, "Self-esteem is the greatest sickness known to man or woman because it's conditional." Viktor Frankl said, "A human being, by the very attitude he chooses, is capable of finding and fulfilling meaning in even a hopeless situation." Alfred Adler said, "The neurotic is nailed to the cross of his fiction." Plato said, "For a man to conquer himself is the first and noblest of all victories." Bertrand Russell said, "If you can admit that life is rotten, 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 then you can begin to enjoy it." Irvin Yalom said, "Not to take possession of your life plan is to let your existence be an accident." Nelson Mandela said, "It always seems impossible until it is done." Albert Einstein said, "Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new." John Wooden said, "If you don't have time to do it right, when will you have time to do it over?" Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." Yogi Berra said, "When you arrive at a fork in the road, take it." Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." An ancient Chinese proverb says, "You can't prevent the birds of sorrow from flying over your head, but you can prevent them from building nest in your hair." Albert Ellis said, "Rejection by some people is actually a compliment." Pogo, a comic strip character, said, "We have met the enemy and he is us." An anonymous individual said, "Resentment is like eating rat poison and waiting for the rat to die." Thank you so much for listening to this presentation. If you enjoyed it, please click subscribe on this YouTube channel to receive future notifications about lectures, workshops, interviews, and mental health training programs in Rational Emotive Behavioral Therapy. Thank you again, and have a great day.